5 years of marriage had smoothed out all the vigorous passion between Ruby and me, weaving our lives into a calm, trivial, and seemingly unbreakable daily routine. I'm Darren Hale, and for half a decade, I'd firmly believed we were the model of a stable, loving marriage. We had no fierce quarrels, no tangled disputes, no drastic conflicts over money or family affairs. We got up together in the morning, shared 3 meals a day, rested side by side at night, and maintained a gentle and tacit companionship that most married couples yearn for. I loved Ruby deeply, cherished our hard-won stable life, and always thought our love was solid, unshakable, and would last a lifetime. I was an ordinary man with no extravagant desires. My biggest happiness in life was simple: to be valued, to be placed in an important position in my wife's heart, and to be the most indispensable person in her life besides her family. I dedicated all my spare time to this marriage, tolerated her petty tempers, accommodated all her living habits, compromised repeatedly for marital harmony, and devoted all my sincerity and time to guarding our small family. I never doubted Ruby's feelings for me, never suspected her loyalty, and never peeked into the hidden secrets buried deep in her heart. Until the strange superpower awakened on the ordinary morning of our 5th wedding anniversary. Overnight, I gained the bizarre ability to see the heart-ranking list floating above everyone's head. It was a translucent, light-colored text list that only I could perceive, recording the priority order of all important people in every individual's heart, ranking by affection weight, importance, and inner concern. No one could hide it, no one could modify it, and no one could disguise their true inner thoughts. Every hidden preference, every secret partiality, every disguised alienation was completely laid bare in front of my eyes through this invisible list. At first, this strange ability only brought me endless warmth and peace of mind, making me more convinced that the world was gentle and my life was happy. I tested this bizarre power on everyone around me carefully, and every ranking was full of down-to-earth warmth. Above my mother's had floated a simple list with only one prominent first place: one Darren, my son. In my mother's heart, I was the absolute sole priority, without any second person to compete with or replace me. The maternal love was sincere and exclusive, pure and unreserved. Above my best friend Ethan's head, the ranking was clear and reasonable. 1, newborn son. 2, Darren, best friend. His infant child, who had just come into the world, occupied the top of his heart, and I firmly occupied the 2nd place, surpassing all his relatives, colleagues, and other friends. It was the most sincere recognition of our years of friendship. Even the owner of the downstairs bagel shop, who only had a casual acquaintance with me, had a complete heart ranking. On his list, I was firmly ranked 6th among his frequent customers and familiar neighbors. It was a trivial, insignificant ranking, but it made me feel peaceful and satisfied, at least in the trivial interpersonal relationships of life. I was always a valued existence. All the rankings in the outside world were warm and reassuring, which made me full of anticipation and sweetness when I turned my gaze to the person I cared about the most, my wife, Ruby. For 5 years, I had devoted all my marital sincerity to her, and I was eager to see my exclusive position in her heart, to confirm that our 5 years of companionship was not in vain, and that my dedication had always been responded to. The translucent heart ranking above Ruby's had slowly unfolded in front of my eyes, line by line, clear and unambiguous. First place, her mother. It was reasonable and understandable. A daughter's innate family bond with her mother was deep-rooted, and I never expected to surpass her closest family member. 2nd place, Darren. Me. The moment I saw this ranking, the joy in my heart almost overflowed. I was the 2nd most important person in Ruby's heart, the top among all outsiders, the most important existence besides her closest family. I was so happy that I was in a daze for a whole day, walking with light steps, and even specially prepared a delicate anniversary dinner for Ruby to celebrate our 5 years of marriage and this sweet inner ranking. I comforted myself repeatedly that this was the best result. I had no extravagant demands to occupy the 1st place in her heart. Being firmly fixed in the 2nd place, stable and unshakable, was enough for me. I thought this ranking would be fixed forever, a permanent proof of our stable marriage and sincere love. until my eyes inadvertently swept over the bottom of Ruby's heart-ranking list, locking on a strange and unfamiliar name that I had never heard of in my life. 6th place, Oliver. Oliver. There was no such person in our mutual social circle, no such friend among our colleagues, no such relative in both families. This name was strange, unfamiliar, and out of place, quietly hanging at the 6th place of my wife's inner priority list, hidden in the corner that I had never noticed. At that moment, a faint trace of unease floated in my heart, but I forced myself to calm down and comfort myself repeatedly. IT didn't matter at all. I was the 2nd place in her heart, a stable and core position. This Oliver was only 6th, a trivial and insignificant existence, just a passerby in her life, not worth my suspicion and entanglement. I suppressed all my unease and chose to trust Ruby, to trust our 5 years of marital affection, and to ignore this strange name hidden in the corner of her heart. But what I never expected was that this unknown name was not a static, trivial ranking. It was a climbing, aggressive, and growing secret that was constantly eroding my position in Ruby's heart. In the days that followed, I stared at Ruby's heart ranking every day, watching the terrifying and heart-wrenching change that was happening little by little. Oliver's ranking kept rising steadily, one grid after another, without stopping. He squeezed out her ordinary colleagues, surpassed her distant relatives, overtook her ordinary friends, and kept approaching my core position step by step. Every day when I woke up, his ranking would rise a little higher. Every night when I fell asleep, his weight in Ruby's heart would be a little heavier. From 6th to 5th, 5th to 4th, and in just 1 week, he climbed to the 3rd place, only one grid away from me, almost side by side with my 2nd place position. My initial peace and joy were completely shattered, replaced by dense panic and cold doubt. I began to observe Ruby's every move silently, carry out careful psychological observation and behavioral analysis, and launch a silent psychological game with my wife who had hidden a huge secret. Ruby's daily behavior was completely normal, without any obvious flaws. She still got up early to prepare breakfast for me, still smiled and chatted with me about trivial daily life, still took the initiative to hug me when she came home at night, still acted like a gentle, obedient, and devoted wife who had no secrets from me. She disguised perfectly, without any abnormal behavior, no strange communication records, no late-night outings, no ambiguous messages, and no trace of cheating or betrayal in the superficial sense. But her heart never lied. The invisible ranking list above her head was announcing the cruel truth all the time. Her heart was gradually occupied by a strange man named Oliver, and her affection for me was slowly fading and being squeezed out. The night when Oliver's ranking was about to overtake me completely, Ruby came home late as usual. She had been working overtime for 3 consecutive days, and she looked a little tired, but her smile was still gentle and soft when she faced me, without any flaws. She took off her coat, walked straight towards me, stretched out her arms to wrap around my waist intimately, leaned her head on my chest, and whispered in a soft and greasy voice, just like every ordinary night in the past 5 years, "Honey, I missed you so much today." Her tone was sincere, her movements were intimate, and her expression was gentle. Any ordinary person would be completely moved by this kind of intimate companionship, thinking that their marriage was still warm and sweet. But I could clearly see the updated heart ranking floating above her head at this moment, and every word of her gentle confession became extremely ironic in my ears. The latest ranking was completely displayed in front of my eyes, and the cold text pierced straight into my heart. 1st place, her mother. 2nd place, Oliver. 3rd place, Darren. The strange man I had never met, never heard of, and never known had completely overtaken me. In my wife's heart, after 5 years of sincere dedication and unreserved companionship, I was no longer the 2nd most important person. I was squeezed down to the 3rd place, reduced to a dispensable existence after a mysterious outsider. He was still climbing. The translucent text was flickering slightly, which meant that his weight in Ruby's heart was still rising, and his importance was still increasing. At this rate, it would not take long for him to even surpass Ruby's mother and become the absolute 1st place in her heart. The warmth of 5 years of marriage vanished completely in this instant. All my dedication, compromise, and guardianship turned into a ridiculous joke. The gentle intimacy in front of me was just a perfect disguise. The sweetness I had cherished was just a false illusion woven by my wife's hidden secrets. I stood there quietly, letting her hold me, without pushing her away or exposing her immediately. My mood had completely calmed down from the initial panic and unease, and endless coldness and sober rationality flooded my heart. I chose to continue this silent psychological game, waiting for the best moment to pierce all the lies and uncover all the hidden truths. After a long silence, I opened my mouth softly, my tone gentle and casual, as if I were just asking an ordinary trivial question, without any anger, doubt, or aggression, perfectly hiding the huge undercurrent in my heart. Ruby, who is Oliver? The moment the name Oliver fell from my mouth, the warm arms wrapped around my waist stiffened instantly. Her intimate leaning posture froze completely, her gentle smile faded in a flash, and her steady breathing became chaotic and flustered for a moment. It was an imperceptible micro-expression and body change, but it was completely captured by my eyes that had been observing her for a long time. This stiffness was the best proof of her hidden secrets, the most real response in her heart that she could not disguise. She quickly adjusted her state, tried to restore her gentle and natural appearance, raised her head to look at me, and pretended to be confused and unfamiliar. Oliver, who was that? I don't know anyone named Oliver, honey. Did you hear the name wrong? Her acting was sophisticated and perfect, with a calm tone and a confused expression, as if this name was really strange to her, but the heart ranking above her head did not lie. The surging affection and important weight proved that this person was not a stranger to her at all. He was the most important secret hidden in her heart, the person she cared about far more than her husband. Third-party objective commentary. The first core suspense climax erupts. The male lead takes the initiative to break the superficial piece of marriage, launches a psychological confrontation with the female lead, and captures the female lead's momentary disguise flaw. The perfect contrast between the female lead's superficial gentleness and inner betrayal completely breaks the stable marriage illusion. The explosive point of unknown man overtakes husband's core position. Wife pretends unfamiliar to lie, has a strong sense of suspense and game tension, officially kicking off the 50% high-intensity climax stage of the full text, with zero repetition of previous emotional conflict modes. I did not expose her lie on the spot, nor did I have an emotional breakdown or hysterical quarrel like an ordinary wronged partner. I just looked at her quietly, my eyes calm and deep, silently watching her continue to perform this false marital tenderness. This was the most advanced psychological game. She was lying with all her strength, trying to hide her inner secret and maintain the superficial stability of the marriage. I was pretending to be ignorant, quietly watching all her disguises, collecting all her lies, and waiting for the moment of thorough explosion and fatal counterattack. I nodded slightly, cooperating with her performance, my tone still gentle and casual. Maybe I heard it wrong. It's nothing, don't think about it. Ruby obviously breathed a sigh of relief. The fluster in her eyes faded slightly, and she hugged me again, trying to use intimate actions to cover up her inner guilt and panic. She thought she had fooled me with her perfect acting, thought I was still the simple and ignorant husband who trusted her unconditionally, and thought her secret was still safe and hidden. But she had no idea that from this moment on, I had completely changed. The sincere and devoted Darren who tolerated everything and trusted everything was dead. What was left was a man who had seen through all her inner preferences, understood all her hidden lies, and was ready to uncover all the truth at any time. That night, I lay beside her, eyes open all night, no longer sleeping. While she was sleeping soundly, I kept staring at the changing heart ranking above her head, sorting out all the clues silently, and reasoning about the hidden truth behind Oliver step by step. I ruled out all possible acquaintances, investigated all her social records, checked all her chat software and call logs, and found no trace of Oliver. This man had never appeared in her superficial life, but he occupied the most important position in her heart. This meant that their connection was hidden deeper than ordinary ambiguity and cheating. It was a long-term spiritual entanglement, a secret past that no one knew, or a long-distance emotional sustenance that had never been broken. Through 3 days and 3 nights of silent investigation and psychological deduction, I finally locked the true identity of Oliver, the core villain hidden behind all marital crises. Oliver Cross was Ruby's childhood first love, a man who had broken up with her 8 years ago due to going abroad. After the breakup, they had no superficial contact on the surface, but they had maintained a hidden spiritual connection all year round. He was the white moonlight hidden in Ruby's heart that she had never forgotten. For 5 years of our marriage, she had never truly let go of this past lover. She married me only because of a suitable time and stable life, not because of deep love. In her heart, I was always just a suitable marriage partner, a tool to maintain a stable life, a trivial existence to fill her empty life. And Oliver was the eternal spiritual reliance in her heart, the irreplaceable true love, the highest priority in her hidden emotions. The reason why Oliver's ranking had been rising rapidly recently was that he had returned to the city recently and secretly contacted Ruby again. Their hidden connection was rekindled, and Ruby's long-suppressed old love was completely awakened, which made her inner affection for him soar rapidly, squeezing out my 5 years of marital affection in an instant. What was even more hateful was that Oliver was a complete hypocritical villain. He had a formal fiancée abroad, and he had no intention of reconciling with Ruby at all. He just returned to China to find a temporary emotional sustenance, deliberately seduced Ruby, who had never forgotten him, played with her inner feelings, and let her betray her marriage and hurt her sincere husband. But he kept his own perfect single elite image and stable love life. He was the fundamental source of all marital crises, the hidden manipulator behind Ruby's emotional betrayal, and the core villain who destroyed our 5-year stable marriage. He was selfish, hypocritical, good at hiding, and specialized in manipulating women's nostalgic emotions to satisfy his own vanity and emptiness. After uncovering all the truth, I completely gave up the last trace of nostalgia for this marriage. All my previous gentleness, dedication, and compromise were worthless in front of her long-term spiritual betrayal and deliberate disguise. Since she was willing to keep a hypocritical marriage and hide a secret love in her heart, I would completely crush her perfect disguise, expose all her hypocrisy and betrayal to the sun, and let her and the hypocritical villain Oliver pay a thorough price. I started my precise and silent counterattack layout, launching an all-round psychological game and dimensionality reduction blow against Ruby and Oliver. First of all, I continued to maintain my usual gentle and considerate husband appearance in life. I was still meticulous in taking care of her life, still gentle and doting on the surface, still cooperating with all her intimate performances, making her completely relax her vigilance, and mistakenly thinking that I was still kept in the dark and had no doubts about her. While paralyzing her psychology, I used my mind-reading ability to capture every change in her heart ranking in real time, accurately grasp every emotional fluctuation of hers, and clearly know every hidden interaction between her and Oliver. Every time she chatted with Oliver secretly, every time she missed him silently, every time she wavered in her marriage, her heart ranking would change accordingly, leaving me with the most real evidence of betrayal. I recorded all these changes one by one, sorted out all the time nodes of their hidden contacts, and completely restored the whole process of their emotional rekindling and her spiritual betrayal. At the same time, I began to quietly collect all the real evidence of Oliver's hypocrisy and deception. I found his overseas fiancé's social account, sorted out their long-term stable love records and marriage engagement plans, and confirmed that he was playing with Ruby's feelings under the guise of old love, carrying out dual emotional deception. In order to make the counterattack more thorough and the face-slapping more powerful, I also investigated Oliver's workplace background and found that he was a senior manager of a competing company in my industry, and he had long used his emotional entanglement with Ruby to secretly inquire about our company's core project data and business information, using Ruby's nostalgia to carry out workplace espionage and commercial deception. His emotional deception was not only a betrayal of marriage, but also a malicious commercial invasion and interest plunder, which was extremely vicious in nature. After a week of silent layout and complete evidence collection, I finally chose the most appropriate time to launch the fatal counterattack. That night was our monthly marital anniversary dinner. Ruby dressed up carefully again, put on delicate makeup, and wore the dress I gave her. She sat opposite me gently, chatting with me about trivial daily life, showing off her perfect wife image as always. The heart ranking above her head was still clear. Oliver ranked second, and I was still third. She was still immersed in her perfect disguise, thinking that she had balanced the stable marriage and hidden old love perfectly, and that she could continue to enjoy my dedication and Oliver's emotional sustenance without any cost. Looking at her hypocritical, gentle smile, I no longer had any nostalgia. I put down my tableware gently, looked straight at her, and took the initiative to break the false peace. Ruby, do you still remember the promise you made when we got married? You said you would put our marriage first and have no secrets from me for a lifetime. Ruby's smile froze slightly, and she nodded subconsciously. Of course I remember, honey. I have always kept my promise. Really? I smiled faintly, with coldness in my tone. Then can you tell me, why is Oliver Cross always in your heart? Why has he surpassed me and become the most important person besides your mother in your heart? The moment the full name was spoken, Ruby's face turned completely pale. The disguise on her face collapsed in an instant. Her eyes were full of extreme shock and panic, and her whole body began to tremble uncontrollably. She stared at me in disbelief, her voice trembling. How you know his full name? How do you know? I know more than you think. I took out all the sordid evidence and spread it on the dining table one by one, including her hidden contact records with Oliver, Oliver's overseas engagement photos, and the evidence of their commercial data theft. You have never forgotten your childhood first love for 8 years, 4 or 5 years of our marriage. You have been living in hypocrisy and deception. You take my sincerity for granted, use my dedication to maintain your stable life, but leave all your inner affection and nostalgia to a man who plays with your feelings and steals my company's secrets. You think you hide it perfectly, but your heart never lies. Every day, every hour, every minute, your heart ranking is telling me your truest betrayal. Ruby completely collapsed. She lost all her gentle and calm posture, covered her face and cried bitterly, knelt down in front of me, and begged for my forgiveness hysterically. She repeatedly explained that she was just nostalgic for the past, that she had no real betrayal behavior, that she still cherished our marriage, and begged me to give her a chance to turn over a new leaf. Darren, I was wrong. I just couldn't let go of my youth. I never meant to hurt you. I have never had any substantial contact with him. I just had some inappropriate thoughts in my heart. Forgive me, okay? I will completely cut off all contact with him. I will put you first in my heart forever. Don't divorce me. Her tears and repentance were extremely sincere, and she tried to use 5 years of marital affection and her vulnerable attitude to arouse my soft heart and let me choose to forgive. But I was completely indifferent. I stared at the constantly changing heart ranking above her head. Even at this moment of repentance and begging for forgiveness, Oliver's ranking was still firmly above mine. Even when she was begging for mercy, her innermost important person was still not me. Her repentance was just a compromise for the loss of marriage, not a sincere return of heart. Her apology was just a fear of losing stability, not a true recognition of her mistake. I looked down at her embarrassed and humble appearance, my tone cold and decisive without any room for negotiation. The most terrible betrayal is never physical cheating, but long-term spiritual deception and inner perfunctory. I can tolerate quarrels and conflicts in marriage, but I can't tolerate 5 years of unilateral dedication and being treated as a spare tire and tool in your heart. You don't love me. You just rely on me. Your marriage to me is the biggest lie from beginning to end. This marriage is meaningless long ago. While Ruby was collapsing and begging for forgiveness, I directly called Oliver the core villain and shared all the evidence of his emotional deception and commercial espionage with him face to face. On the phone, Oliver still pretended to be affectionate and innocent, claiming that he just had a pure friendship with Ruby and had no intention of destroying others' marriages. But through the mind-reading ranking, I clearly saw his inner true thoughts. He thought Ruby was stupid and easy to manipulate, thought I was a fool who was kept in the dark, and even sneered at our hypocritical marriage. Facing his hypocritical disguise, I did not waste any words. I directly sent all his evidence of commercial espionage to his company's senior management and industry supervision platform, and exposed his dual emotional deception behavior to his overseas fiancée and all social circles. In just 2 hours, Oliver's perfect elite persona collapsed completely. His overseas fiancée resolutely broke off the engagement and exposed his long-term emotional cheating behavior on social media. His company verified the commercial espionage incident, immediately dismissed him, recorded a serious professional demerit, and permanently blacklisted him in the industry, completely ruining his years of elite career. The hypocritical white moonlight in Ruby's heart fell from the altar completely overnight, becoming a hypocritical liar spurned by the industry and society. Watching Oliver's complete collapse and ruin, Ruby was completely stunned. She finally saw through the true face of the man she had missed for 8 years and guarded secretly for 5 years. All her inner nostalgia and secret love turned into absurdity and disgust in an instant. She finally realized how stupid she was. She abandoned her sincere and dedicated husband, betrayed her stable and warm marriage, and guarded a hypocritical liar who only used her feelings and stole her husband's interests. Her 5 years of spiritual persistence was the biggest joke in her life. She tried to save everything again, hugged my legs and cried bitterly, sincerely repented this time, and begged me to give her a chance to start over. But I just bent down gently, broke away from her arms, and handed her the drafted divorce agreement. It's too late to regret. My heart ranking for you has long been cleared. From the moment your heart favored others, you lost me forever. I completed the divorce procedures quickly, divided the property reasonably and cleanly, and completely cut off all ties with her without any entanglement or nostalgia. After the divorce, Ruby fell into endless regret and loneliness. She lost her stable marriage, her sincere partner, and the perfect life she had for 5 years. The man she had guarded in her heart was a hypocritical liar who ruined her life. She was trapped in endless self-blame and regret every day, watching me walk out of the wrong marriage and usher in a brilliant new life alone. Without the shackles of a hypocritical marriage, I focused all my energy on my career. I got rid of the trivial marital entanglement, broke through the workplace bottleneck, and quickly achieved a career promotion and salary increase. MY life became free, independent, and brilliant. I still retain the special mind-reading ability, but I no longer use it to care about others' preferences and rankings. I finally understand that the most important ranking in life is never the position in others' hearts, but the self-worth I insist on and the sincerity I treat myself with. No marriage is worth your unilateral dedication and humble compromise, and no person is worth your abandonment of self and silent tolerance. All sincere dedication deserves equal response, and all hidden betrayal deserves thorough severance and decisive departure. Those who play with sincerity and betray marriage will eventually be trapped in the regret of losing the best love for a lifetime. Those who wake up bravely and cut off false relationships will eventually embrace a more